The franchise hot seat is for information and entertainment purposes and is not an offer to sell franchises. If the hot seat introduces you to a franchise concept that interests you, you must do your own due diligence before making an investment. Welcome to the Franchise Hot Seat. I'm your host, John Hayes, Director of the Franchise Center at Palm Beach Atlantic University. In this episode of the Hot Seat, we feature an emerging franchise concept that will be evaluated by our dream team. At the end of the session, each member will score the potential of the concept by holding up a cold seat, a warm seat, or hot seat. Let me introduce you to the dream team for this presentation. These elite executives are superstars in their industries and in franchising. CEO of United Franchise Group, Ray Titus. Co-founder of Crank Enterprises, a venture marketing company, Brian Margolis. Retired franchise executive, Mark Liston. And CEO of Restoration One and Blue Frog Plumbing and Drain, Gary Finley. And now, sitting in the hot seat, Al Harlow Jr., President and CEO of Clickit.
Hi, this is Al Harlow. I'm really happy to be here today to be in front of this group, this panel in the Franchise Hot Seat. When John asked me to do this, I was very excited. I have this opportunity to speak in front of this great panel of business experts about Click IT. However you say it, Click IT or Click It, we're your local IT department. Our model addresses a grossly underserved market of small businesses and residents with multiple reoccurring revenue streams in our 12 categories of over 100 services, products, and solutions. Uniquely, Click It delivers best-in-class managed services in a retail store setting, concierge style, where the customer is king. Let me give you a quick story about how Click It organically came about. 10 years ago, I found myself leading a software development business here in the village of Chagrin Falls. We had a bank of servers in a colo facility down in Cleveland and 15 or so employees. This included 2 systems administrators. We were building web applications. Now, these systems admins were our go-to guys when it came to setting up and fixing our computers in the office for our employees. And all through this time, my friends were always asking me for help with their computers. So at one point, I finally said, I just got to put up a shingle. So I put up this shingle on the back door entrance. That, for real. And that's my son. And that said computer repair. Well, in no time, doing computer repair turned into a surprisingly good income stream, especially when we figured out how it was able to be combined with ongoing managed services. We'd fix it, we'd monitor it remotely, I might add, and then we'd bill for it monthly or yearly. 2 guys were able to monitor and maintain hundreds of devices without leaving their chairs. All of our services are automated, and the business was a geek's dream, except for the fact that someone in the front office needed to speak with the customers, which is why our ideal candidate is an owner-operator with a talent for selling. We've learned that we must be good teachers and listen and not be upset. We are repeating ourselves constantly. So today, Click It has a 1,200 square foot retail store on Main Street, uniquely providing IT services in the center of Chagrin Falls, where in 2020, during the pandemic, as an essential business, we never shut down and did about $584,000 in sales with a 40% margin. In our store, we have TV screens with menus of the most commonly bought items so customers see the costs and details right up front. Like when you're in McDonald's, which was my inspiration for that. And you see the menu up there. As you can tell, the margins are incredible, and frankly, because they are so good, I am no longer working at the store. I have a very capable operations manager, Chris, and the store is properly staffed. I am now dedicated to putting my full attention on helping others use our model and intellectual property to build themselves their own thriving IT business. And I want to do this in every state around the country and do it fast. Chagrin Falls is a small suburban town, and like many small towns, it's a bit secluded. Inside a 5-mile radius, there's only a population of 55,000 residents, and at the last count, about 3,000 businesses. So several years ago, I thought this is a perfect model for a franchise. I saw the opportunity. We have also a computer industry that's completely focused on hardware, not services. We have people needing good, steady employment where they're in control of their own destiny. And now we have the blessing of a loosening up of our financial system where more capital is available more than ever before. So ClickIt has the systems, the know-how, the best-in-class vendors. We've been doing it for 10 years. We have the relationships. We're in this nice little historical village. It's a destination place where people come eat popcorn and walk around town, many of whom are now our customers. You would not believe, by the way, how much popcorn is sold in that little popcorn shop. And I know because we built the e-commerce store. Now, ClickIt of Chagrin Falls has over 2,500 customers and manages over 1,000 computers daily, watching over their business networks and helping them with their email, backup, security, printers, websites, anything relating to IT. ClickIt of Chagrin Falls has an A+ ranking with the BBB and a 5-star rating with Google. We have over 20 websites that generate for our franchisees web traffic that translates into foot traffic. Uniquely, I think as a franchise, we help with all of this. I want to build a strong network of owners, and we can do it, I think, because we have run our own shop now in which we've proven the model for 10 years. So now the franchise. We call our franchise division Motherboard, which owns the rights to sell franchises and all the IP, the intellectual property. Motherboard's awarded 2 franchises so far. One just opened up in Sun Valley, and Chad Bertoni, the owner there, is already speaking with me about opening up a second store. And one is about to open up in Brooklyn, Ohio, about 20 miles from the Chagrin store. So that Brooklyn store, in fact, is going to have an illuminated sign, which I'm looking forward to seeing. In order to grow fast, we have developed a members portal that steps candidates through our vetting process. Just the other day, I received a compliment from our soon-to-be Marietta, Georgia store owners regarding how much they've liked this system. They were able to move at their own pace and weren't overwhelmed all at once with information because we provide them with a ton of information that they have to digest. And we put them through this step-by-step process. We've worked extremely hard to be sure we comply with the laws and regulations regarding franchising. I have a lawyer on retainer to watch over everything I do. So, okay, what am I hoping to gain in making this presentation to you today? Well, obviously, franchising on a national scale costs money, as you know, and this is more than anyone can take out of a small store in a small town through bootstrapping. So the last time I was asked this question by John, I said we needed leads and money. Well, of course, don't we all? But now, several weeks later, I'm happy to say we have more leads than we can handle. I have proven we can generate leads and we can sell franchises, and the timing is right on. The timing is right on because everybody needs IT. The market is large, and I believe we could have thousands of stores. So how am I going to get there? Fortunately, I was awarded a $16,000 scholarship, and I'm attending next month an accelerator called New Chip in Austin, Texas. The goal for me now is to find the money so I can hire the talent and then get out of the way. In this process of raising capital and working with New Chip, I'm looking for board members. So please let me know if you're interested, and I can send you the information. So thank you so much again for this opportunity to present to you today.
Hey, Al. First of all, thank you for joining us here at the Hot Seat. Look, you've got a couple strong elements that I do like about where you're headed with this. The brand, ClickIt, or IT in that regard. It's strong. I do like, the easy to remember, easy to follow type of mentality of it. Your sales are looking strong for a local business. Right now, as I see it, it's coming off as just that, a local business, a local IT company. And we're talking about scalability. Behind the scenes, it sounds like you've taken a lot of time to develop a franchise system, a model. Is the process and the intake process that you have, is this like, did you build a proprietary system or software? You mentioned that you have a unique IP in what you do. Is that on the back end of franchise development? Is it, something that you provide and extend to your franchisees?
Actually, in several areas. As a web developer, we have built web systems in the back end so that all our systems are able to be managed by a franchise owner without a lot of knowledge. So that's important, we feel, because in order for this to be appealing to people in general, they don't have to be a geek to own a store. And then we built this members portal, which is a step-by-step process, so that we're trying to incorporate automation as much as we can. So we're using HubSpot, and we do it all automated. They get encouraged to fill out a questionnaire, take a test. Then obviously we're trying to qualify them as far as financing. So that's all the process, and it's as automated as we can make it at this point. We're continuing to do that. So yes.
Okay. That's great. Now, obviously there's a lot of competition, not just local IT businesses and services, but franchising in general, right? There's other franchisors out there that are providing the same exact services. The one thing that I feel a little better about is the fact that you said one of your challenges were at one point leads, which you seem to have overcome, which is good as an IT company that's also touting e-marketing and services like that. I'd hate to hear that generating leads is an issue. So it sounds like your resources internally have come up with the problem to that challenge and are generating leads now. The second piece that is a little bit of a red flag then is money, right? Now, money at that point, when it comes to online sales, is all relative in scale, right? So you should be able to scale your campaigns to a 2-to-1, 3-to-1, 4-to-1, and start reinvesting into the business. Now, some of those dollars you mentioned are going to be not just for franchise development, but for hiring people, right? And on the people side, what exactly are you looking for, and what is your plan for, utilizing those folks? Is it part of building that franchise network?
Yes.
I'm just learning more a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, let me address, Brian, the leads. So this is, if you can tell here, those are 11 guys now that we have in the Atlanta area. And the top group there are the ones we've selected as our first franchises in that area. As far as who we need, I need people to manage this, people with experience in franchising. Need a franchise sales director. I need training materials that we do provide, that we have developed. We need that to be continued so that we can address the needs of the franchises as we grow out the system. People, bodies, that's what the money's going to be used for. I just don't want to hire, below the grade of what people are typically paid for this type of work. And I have to design something that makes it very, there's incentive built in, and people are very excited and can, go on the ship along with me and succeed. So that's what I'm trying to do. And it just takes money.
Yeah, and there's several different approaches you could take for raising capital in general. One thing that I would say is I think it's going to be important. Here's a few things that you're going to want to have, especially if you're talking about money, right? You're going to want to make sure you document your proof of concept, document the sales, which it sounds like you've started to do. I would really focus on packaging up your system in more detail. What makes you unique, what makes you different, what is going to allow you to scale bigger and better than some of the other competition that's out there. Again, you're in a very, very competitive market. Obviously, it's a good market to be in, and competition certainly doesn't scare me. That's a good sign, but you have to define what makes you different from the other IT franchises out there. Why is your system better? Why are you going to help your franchises be successful, your franchisees? All of those different components is going to help. And the reason why it all connects in terms of getting money, raising money, or contributing to that is anyone, including myself, anyone who's going to put a dollar into this is going to want to know that this is the scalable plan and this is what we're going to do to overcome some of the challenges in this market, and where exactly it is that we're going to grow and how fast can we expect to get a return in that scalability factor. These are some of the checklist items that I would just make sure you have on the top of your radar as you're talking to people, and not just verbally as we're talking here, but really package this up, document it. And it's part of the brand, right? Like I said from the beginning, Click IT, Click It. I think it's memorable. It's a good brand. We could definitely work with that, and I like it. I think we just need to package that up before we start talking to others and make it appear much larger than it currently is, where it's in its current state of like a small local IT business. I think you'll open up the doors for more conversations at that point.
Everything you've said there, Brian, is very helpful. Thank you. You're right. You're right on.
Al, I would first I want to compliment you on a really nice presentation. I think you've put a nice package together. I really like the way you're marching towards success here. I think that you've got a really good area. You've got a good field. It's funny because it kind of touches several of our brands here at United Franchise Group. We've got Experamax, which does pre-owned Apple computers and some of that. And then we also have Fully Promoted, which does, we'll get into websites and design and things like that. So I see this, you may be a little early on your franchising, although you're showing great movement now with leads. I don't know your Chagrin Falls location, how profitable it is at 40% on, 600,000 in sales or just under 600,000 in sales. When you take in consideration rent and employees and expenses and everything else, I don't know what's left on the bottom line there, Al. What are you looking at on the bottom line at the Chagrin Falls location?
40% EBITDA.
Okay. You mean after all bills and everything?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's strong. I was taking that as a gross profit. That's awesome. So that's very, very strong. I also see this potentially as a plug-in franchise. And I don't mean that in any way negatively. I mean that in a very, very positive light. I think that I could see where a Click It could be in a store that has other things and could be in an Experamax, could be in a Fully Promoted, or could be in other things like that. I see some great opportunity for that, maybe in phone stores or in other aspects. So I think you may have a kind of an add-on feature for a lot of businesses that are already paying rent out there, already have employees, that already have some of the things you're looking for these franchisees to be successful. And I'd be very interested in this. I think that this is an area that obviously isn't going away, especially after the pandemic and everything else. I think the pandemic kind of forced us to embrace technologies we probably should have embraced 3 years ago. And it kind of forced us to do that now. And I think your company is going to benefit from that, as some of ours have as well. So I see really, really good things. I think you've done a lot of really good things, having an attorney on retainer. The branding looks good to me. I really like the simple, easy to remember brand like that. I think that's really good. I think you're just missing a couple little pieces. And I love the idea you want to add some board members and so we are, I'm very interested. I think that it's an excellent presentation and a great job. And, for me, I think your focus on the adding franchise owners, yes, but the profitability aspect of it and keep that high. That's going to be critical. Your first 3 to 5 franchisees are going to be your validators for your future growth. And so it's critical that those first franchise owners are successful. And it's almost kind of like, Al, you want to get those first 3 to 5 up and running, but you want to take like a little hiatus from opening up. You don't want to have like 100 locations opened up where, everybody's at a startup stage. You want people to be able to speak to owners that are profitable and doing well and making money, and kind of space that out a little bit. So be careful that you don't sell too many. That sounds like a good problem to have, but you don't want to do that, because that can end up being a nightmare for you, having too many of those.
Absolutely. Great advice. Thank you. In fact, I was on last night at 10 p.m. with Chad, who I mentioned out in Idaho. I'm pushing real hard to make sure every one of these new franchisees is very, very successful. So that's our main charge. Both Chris and I are working really hard on that.
Al, this is great to listen to today and see what you're doing, how you're doing it. Fortunately, I know where Chagrin Falls is, and I know the territory extremely well. When I worked for Connecticut, which is just up the street from you, they brought in a new national sales manager. One of the things that he did, he was so concerned that they would sell territories here, and then one in California, and then one in New York. He said, guys, we got to focus around Ohio. And the reason he said that is so we can support them. And looking back, it's great advice. I always thought that, if I'm in Idaho, I want the exact same support as the person 15 minutes away from Chagrin Falls. And so as you look at your marketing plan, where I'm going to put dealers or franchisees, that's a big one. The second thing that I see with new franchisees, franchisors especially, is the territories they sell. They'll give someone Atlanta. And it sounds okay in the beginning, but 5 years from now, you're going to be very, very sorry. As I go through your website, I was disappointed in the website. And let me explain why. Mm-hmm. One of your hot buttons, one of the things that you're doing as a company are websites. On your whatever page, Brian can tell you, the lead page of your website, the homepage, yeah, thank you. The homepage of your website, it doesn't say anything about franchising. There's nothing on the top line. And I'm thinking, if you're selling franchises, if you're interested in franchising, that's got to be prominent, that it's there.
Can I ask you which website you went to, Mark?
I don't know.
Was it Click It Group? Because we have a website called clickitfranchise.com, and that's where we're putting our marketing efforts. And we had just rebuilt clickitgroup.com. We used to have a banner up there. You're reminding me, we just that site went live 2 days ago, and we need the banner back. So yes, thank you for reminding me about that.
Whatever I saw, and when you have one, just forward to the other one. Here's the other thing. That has to be magic in selling people. If I'm an investor, if I want to open my own business, I got to go to the website. I got to get excited. I wasn't excited because you're not even on there. I mean, you should be featured on that first page. And you talked about at the corporate store, kind of doing some things and turning it over. That you have to be the man on that website. You have to be the man that gets excited, everybody excited. It has to be videos of you, why you should look at this as a franchisee, becoming a franchisee. And then what I see is every time you click on one of those thumbnails, you should again be talking on what this means to you. The other thing is, I think you're going to have to address how many people you need in a normal store. If I see 20 things, I'm awful when it comes to technology, when it comes to understanding. I got my computer on. I was happy today. But if I'm looking at, do I want to invest in this? Then how much support am I going to get? And how much do I need to learn? And do I have to do I have to hire techies that's going to help me through the entire process? So I think that's a big thing. And I think that's where you can address in one of the number of employees you're going to need per store, and then how much support you're going to get otherwise. Another thing that I'd recommend is, as you're talking through things, don't use industry nomenclature that you don't know. Like I heard one of them say MSP. I don't know what MSP is. So as you're talking to people, think about dumbing it down to talk to people that have a lot of money, that have never been invested, that don't know your technology whatsoever, so they get it. And write that website and excite that website to the person that has some coin. Because you're going to need some coin to get this going, I would think, besides just what you can borrow.
Great advice, Mark.
Okay.
Everything that you've said here is phenomenal. You're absolutely right on. And I'm going to make every effort to do what you're talking about.
It's simple stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Al. Hey, first of all, congrats. It takes a lot to take a concept and eventually turning in to a franchise. I've been doing this about 30 years, represented about a dozen brands, everything from dog daycares to kids cooking schools. So I have a little bit of a good understanding of what that's like. Today, I have service businesses. Spent most of my life in fitness, but I have service business today. So, I understand that concept of essential businesses. And last year, we really figured out what an essential business was. And, for me, having been out there a long time doing this, I always think about if I were going to buy a business today, what would I look for? And I've always said low investment, low overhead, high margins, as recession resistant as I possibly can get. But the last one is one of my biggest questions for you probably is my last one I use is no brick and mortar. So I'm curious as to, and especially thinking about what we went through last year is, and maybe the first part may answer it, like what is the biggest part of your business? And then why, help me understand why you need brick and mortar.
Yeah, that's a unique identifier. That's what makes us really unique.
Okay.
The fact that we are offering managed services in a retail setting, and it's sort of a concierge service, which is in this town especially, people really need that hands-on attention. The bricks and mortar, tremendous way. It's the model we know and understand. It gives us presence. People recognize us. I remember a customer walked in and said, I've been seeing your store. I've been going by here for years, and I finally came in because I realized that you could help me with something. And I know you're going to be here and you're going to be around. It established just credibility for people. We have, it's all about reputation in a small town for us, and trying to make sure that people, when we go around and say click IT, they know immediately who we're talking about because they've recognized the store. And so the bricks and mortar, I hear what you're saying about, in big investment. Not really. The way we build out these stores, it's really not like building a McDonald's. This is a very low investment. The cost to get in, and these are retail prices, $120,000. You build out a store, you got working capital, you pay our franchise fee, and you're in business. So, and get trained. It is really I think it's what gives us some uniqueness. I do like Ray's idea. I've thought about that as far as being a store in store. We also are finding, if I could address this one, that there are a lot of computer repair places out there, but those people who run those businesses don't know how to make money. They don't know how to offer these add-on services that we've figured out. And all of this is really on an online store. If you go to clickitco.com and click on the store, you'll actually see our over 100 products. So we have figured that out. We can help business owners that are currently in the computer repair business. We can help them make money. And I think it's important to have that presence in a small town and build that reputation. That's what we teach our franchise owners. It's all about that. In fact, I was on the phone last night with Chad, as I said, and that's exactly what he's telling me. I have a reputation to protect, and I have to make sure we do this right, because we had a computer go into his shop yesterday where the woman was so upset because her hard drive crashed and she didn't know what to do. And so obviously we're solving the problem for her. She's going to be extremely happy when we're done. So yeah, I hope that answers it for you, Gary.
Yeah, it is. Who's your biggest competitor today? Who would you compare yourself with?
So there's a website called topitfranchises.com, and Experimac's on there, Ray. We have we have two styles, actually three styles. We got home-based styled IT providers. You've got the retail style, which is like You Break, I Fix. That's a bricks and mortar style store. Now they don't really have that services end of their business. They just focus on something that's broken. We're going to fix it. So that website goes into the differences, the many differences between our website and the last one I said, home-based, retail-based, and then you've got your in the office, like a CMIT is a big competitor, but their focus is on the larger businesses. They don't even want to talk to a small business. Oh. So we have this really underserved market of small businesses that we're addressing.
So I'll land this thing with development. So I told you earlier, really development, franchise development, much like Ray, that's pretty much been my career, selling 10,000 locations to several different organizations. So, the one thing that Ray said, validation. So if you can't validate it, you can't sell it. So look for a really strong development group. Because they're going to help you get into the brokers and really, I can't think, set you on course. So that would be my two major recommendations. But again, congrats on your job. Good. Well done.
Keep at it. And any help you guys can offer beyond today, I'd really appreciate it. So thanks. Absolutely. Thanks for your time.
Absolutely. Hey, Al. So yeah, there's some great advice on the table here. It sounds like you're off to a good start. You're building the right foundation that we're all looking for. If I had to sit here and grade where you're at currently, I'd probably say we're sitting on a warm seat right now. It's got potential. It's got everything that we're looking for and starting to check some of these boxes. I would say, take some of the strong advice here. Mark really nailed it as well. In the sense where
that hot seat.
You take the advice here, and I think we could get you there with the hot seat. But there's Mark was kind of touching on some of the things that I myself as well as concerned on the branding piece of it. And I think you're starting to build the blocks that we're looking for, right? So keep at it. Like I said, there's potential in this brand, and I like where you're headed, right?
I think, Al, you're in a great spot. I think you've got a lot of the pieces that need to be put in place, much more than others that I've seen. I think there are just some little things that need to be done, but I'm much more positive on this one. I'm a really hot one on this one. I think that you've got this, but I do think. Taking to what Gary said, as far as you may not want to have a complete retail operation on this, it may be more of a plug and play scenario where you don't have those same expenses. And this could be a real big profit center for a lot of those operations out there. So we'll talk offline, Al. I'm very, very bullish on it.
Thank you. Awesome.
I love listening to Ray and Gary and Brian every time, because the advice, it's free, and then secondly, it's just dead on. And Ray, when you were talking, I was thinking about Geek Squad. I mean, there's a great example, that store inside of a store, that's what they do. And so I think there's a lot of benefits there. And like Gary, I was franchise development for many years, different companies. So, and one of those was at Batteries Plus and how they've changed, but their key was what they did in the back, remaking batteries. And I think that's exactly what you're saying, is if we have this service inside these four walls, then we'll have a lot more people coming. And I'm going to do a combination of these guys. It's not because I can't make a decision. It's because I think you're right here, right now, but you can get here so quickly on just doing some basics.
Great. Thank you, Mark.
So Al, I'm sure you figured this out. This is a strong group of people, great information. I think taking a little bit of everything and everyone said, but it's fairly consistent across all of us. And, again, as you develop, a lot of people look at just putting dots on a map. So they want to go out and, they want to shotgun everyone, get as many dots on the map as they can, but they lose in support. So you don't want to, that's a huge mistake most people make. And coming from sales, believe me, I love dots on the map. That's how we make money. But at the same time, not take care of those franchisees. The company I have today, when I went and took the company over, I asked the owner one day, I said, what do your franchisees need? And he said, well, they don't need anything. And I said, well, why do you say that? And he said, well, they don't call. And I said, hey, listen, in franchising, no news is not good news.
Right.
So just remember that. And that's why, go back again, finding a right development team, just make sure whoever you bring in has franchise experience.
Yeah.
It's a lot different than just selling, some other product. This is selling people on making a life change, taking all their money out of their 401 and putting it in a business. It's a big deal. So it's very unique. The people that do it well, they're worth their money in gold. So for me, I would say you're halfway there, and I only say halfway because there's so many things you still have to do, and you've got the basics. I think you got a great concept. I've seen them all, so I think you got a great concept. Now it's taking and tweaking those things, putting together a development team that can take it out there and launch it for you. And at the same time, they're consulting you and helping you build your business. So great job. I look forward to one of these days looking out there and passing by a Click It.
Thank you, Gary.
You bet.
Hey, Al, I think you see you're on the right track here overall. It looks like you actually have a few potential board members for you as well.
That would be awesome.
So that's all the time we have today on the hot seat. We certainly appreciate you coming out, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot more of Click It in the near future here.
Great, Brian. Thank you so much. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate all your time and advice, and I'm taking it all to heart.
Thanks for joining us for the Franchise Hot Seat. And remember, our purpose is to inform and educate. We are not selling franchises. Do your homework before investing in any business. Franchising is a powerful methodology for business ownership, and it may be the best way for you to own a business and build personal wealth. But franchising is not without risks, and it's not for everyone. Some quick thank yous to our sponsors. Since its founding in 1999 by IFA Hall of Fame honoree Tariq Fareed, Edible has been at the forefront of supporting franchising and entrepreneurship as a path to the American dream. Support your local Edible franchise outlets. Transworld Business Advisors is the world leader in the marketing and sales of businesses, franchises, and mergers and acquisitions. They've got 240 offices worldwide. Accurate Franchising is a full-service franchise consulting and development company that assists brands with developing franchise business models, along with assisting existing franchisor brand expansion through franchise sales services. Midas Auto Repair Stores, founded in 1956, has grown to over 2,100 locations worldwide. They are ranked #1 in their category by Entrepreneur Magazine's Franchise 500. Since 1962, customers have trusted Big O Tires for their automotive needs. Big O Tires is expanding in your area as it continues to add to its base of more than 450 locations nationwide. You want to sit in the hot seat? Visit TitusCenterForFranchising.com and let us hear from you. I'm John Hayes, leading the Titus Center for Franchising, where we're educating the next franchise generation.